It's 6 minutes to 9. So will we get a vote on Brexit this week? Can Theresa May's deal get through? And what is the EU making of all of this? Well, to cast some light on this, we hope, we're joined now by Sonia Sodha, Chief Leader Writer from The Observer, is here in the studio with us, and also by Michaela Kufner, Chief Political Editor for DW, that's Germany's international broadcaster. Good morning to you both.
Morning. Hi there.
Just beginning with you, first of all, Michaela, because we're just getting news on the wires that the German foreign minister has been saying that the more we delay Brexit, the harder it will get. What do you make of that?
Well, this comes back to what the chief negotiator of the EU, Michel Barnier, has been saying all along. If you extend, what for? At the heart of the problem, there's the inner wrangling of the British Parliament, particularly Theresa May, trying to get her own people behind herself. And for the EU, this has now moved on to an issue that also the Conservative, the European People's Party's candidate for the upcoming election, Manfred Weber, wants to avoid, which is the whole Brexit issue dominating EU elections. And even further than that, if there's a long delay, this could actually halt the ability of the European Union to take any kind of political decisions unless Britain actually votes in these upcoming elections. So there's a technical issue, but there's also this large fear of growing populism that already exists in the lead up to these elections. And if Brexit plays into that, this could all become about Brexit. And nobody here in Germany and across Europe is particularly interested in that.
So that's interesting, isn't it, Sonia, because we'll be in this asking for delay scenario at the summit this week. Crucial, of course, is whether she does manage to get her deal through in the next meaningful vote. When do you think that's likely to be, and what are the chances of it?
Well, it's interesting, Martha, because I think at the end of last week, everyone thought it was pretty likely to be this coming week. But I think the problem for the Prime Minister is that as soon as the idea that this might not actually be crunch time starts to set in, there may be another meaningful vote, or the meaningful vote might get pushed back a week. Then it becomes very hard for her to sort of communicate to MPs, no, this is really crunch time. You've got to swing behind the deal. And so I think all this talk over the weekend about her potentially not putting the deal to Parliament this week unless she knows she can win, and perhaps even delaying until next week. I mean, this is the week we're due to leave the European Union. I think that's going to make it harder for her to win a vote this week. So we could now potentially, I think, be looking at her going to the European Council without having held a vote in Parliament this week, and looking to have a vote really as close to the wire as you can get the following week.
So what does that mean for the European summit then, Michaela?
Well, it means that once again, there's a European summit taking place where the EU won't learn what Britain actually wants. And this is an infamous quote already, which seeped out of the last European Council meeting where, and we have several sources on this, the German Chancellor stood up and said, what is it you actually want? And as far as the EU is concerned, one thing the EU had feared has already happened. They gave Theresa May a bit more. She took that back to Parliament, and once again, it wasn't enough. So Sonia was saying this is interesting. Frankly, here, waking up to a crunch time pretty much every morning on the whole Brexit issue is not something that fetches a lot of political interest anymore. There's a lot more interest to kind of move beyond this issue with other European issues at stake as well.
And meanwhile, Sonia, the Prime Minister is clearly hoping that if she does manage to get the Democratic Unionists on board, that'll help persuade some Conservative colleagues, but not all, as John Redwood mentioned.
Absolutely. Well, as we heard from John Redwood this morning, he didn't exactly sound like a man just about to swing behind Theresa May's deal, did he? And so you're right, the issue of the DUP...
And he said there was a lot of people like him as well.
Exactly. The issue of the DUP is really key, and there is a chance if she wins the DUP round, that would bring enough Tories, if she could also get 20 to 25 Labour MPs to vote for her deal. That is sort of where you could see the numbers coming from. But
will those Labour MPs, if they think she's not going to win the vote, it's quite a high risk, isn't it, for a Labour MP to vote with the government,
and I think
possibly against a win?
I think it's high risk for those Labour MPs anyway, because a lot of MPs are saying on the Eurosceptic flank of her party, we might support your deal, but only if you agree to resign straight afterwards. So essentially what Labour MPs who vote for this deal may be doing is giving a blank cheque to whoever follows her, to negotiate whatever sort of final deal with the European Union that they want. So these are really kind of tricky times, and I think there's a very big question mark over whether she can bring the DUP round this week. And if that doesn't happen, I think there's absolutely no chance of her deal getting through this week. So I suspect in that case the government may choose to hold off.
Sonia Sodha, Michaela Kufner, thank you both for joining us.
That is all from us today. Our editors were Nina Mannering and Tracy Rubenstein. A very good morning to you.